Do you occasionally feel lost in your photography? Do you feel as if you were not making any progress? And do you feel frustrated with the results you're getting? Well, for a very long time I felt so too. My name is Pit Haupert, I am a Vienna-based street photographer, and for a very long time I was unhappy and frustrated with the results I was getting too. I felt like I was not making any progress. But over the past few years, I've managed to overcome that frustration and achieve progress and fulfillment in photography through three main guidances. And these three main guidances I want to share with you today, and I'm sure they will make you progress faster too. The first guidance I want to give you is the establishment of photography routines. They always say practice makes perfect, and that applies to literally anything we do, but even more so to photography. The more we do photography, the better we get. But how do we actually get ourselves to do something? Well, productivity expert Ali Abdaal once said in his book that when you do not know when you're going to do something, then you likely won't do it. What does he mean by that? Well, he says, or he thinks, that in order for you to really do something, you need to commit to it and write it down in your calendar. So instead of saying, oh yeah, well, I will go out and take some photos sometime this week, I want you to be clearer. I want you to say that you will go out and take pics, let's say every Thursday at 7 p.m. But it could be any day, depending on your timetable. So now it's your turn. I want you to take out your phones and write in your calendar app what day and what time of that day you're gonna commit to photography on a weekly basis. And as you do this, you commit to that day and time every week. The first weeks will be hard. You will not always come home with great results. The conditions will not always be optimal. Yet I encourage you to go out. And those few times that you do come home with great results will be even more rewarding. The bottom line here is that if you go out every week at least once, dedicate a specific time and day of the week to photography. And while you might not see progress from a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, all these little walks over time will lead to massive jumps in the long run. Alright, now that we have set up our routines, the guidance number one, we're gonna move to guidance number two, which is that each time you go out, I want you to spice up your walks by introducing little challenges into them. This challenge could be based on using one single focal length. Let's say this week you're gonna use a 50mm, next week you're gonna use a 35mm, the week after you're gonna use an 85mm. And by just restricting yourself to one single focal length, you will be able to get better at using this specific focal length. But the challenge do not always have to be bound to one single focal length. It can also be the emphasis on one specific composition. Let's say this week you're gonna put an emphasis on leading lines, so lines that lead into your photo. Next week you might want to introduce some foreground interest into your photos. You might want to emphasize color matches or reflections into your photos. So there is many different options on what compositions you want to focus on and practice on a weekly basis. If you run out of ideas, I can even advise you to use ChatGPT to give yourself a little photo challenge. I have done so in the past, and I have asked ChatGPT, yo, I am photographing in this specific city, and I want you to give me a challenge that includes like 3 different sub-challenges, and every time you go out and shoot, you might ask ChatGPT to give you a little challenge. And if you see that the challenge might be a little bit too difficult, you can ask ChatGPT to make it a little bit easier. If it's too easy, you can ask it to make it more difficult. And if you stay tuned till the end, I will give you the photo challenge that I want you to do this week. Alright, now that we have established our photography routines, that you go out and shoot every week on a specific day and time, and that I want you to set little challenges every time you go out and shoot, I want to introduce you to guidance number 3, which is to join fellow photographers. As much as I think that shooting for yourself, just you and the camera, can be an incredibly enriching experience as you just focus on the camera and the composition in front of you, equally I think it's important to join other photographers. Not only do these people motivate you to go out and shoot, but it also enables an exchange of ideas that you can get inspired by. Let's say you can inspire yourself by the way other photographers compose their scenes. You can get inspired by the way they edit. And additionally, you can also get and give feedback on your work. You might, for instance, ask another photographer, yo, do you think I overdid the saturation in this photo? Or you might ask whether your composition is good, or whether you think that your subject is clearly visible. So bottom line is that photographing with other photographers can be an incredibly enriching experience. And now you might want to ask yourself, how can I even find other photographers to go out and photograph with? Well, that's actually quite easy, as well. In the first place, you might go to Instagram, and there you might even already follow some local photographers. And don't be shy to just send them a message, ask them whether they want to go out and shoot. And in my experience at least, they will want to go out and shoot with other photographers. So don't be shy, just send them a message. Alternatively, you might just want to do a Google search and see whether there is any photography clubs or communities around that you might consider to join. All right, that was a mouthful. Conclusion. Guidance number one, we have established that you need a weekly routine. I want you to go out and shoot every week at a given day at one specific time during that day. Guidance number two is to give yourself a little mission of what your photography that day should be about. It could be about constraining yourself to one single focal length. It could also be to just focus on one compositional technique. And as promised, now the first mission I want you to do. So I want you to take a photo that has both a reflection and a leading line to it. I will display some possible results of this, what this might look like in here, and make sure to send me a direct message to show me your results. And then the final guidance we have established is that occasionally shooting with others can really help you progress through mutual learning. And now that we've solely focused on how to learn how to adopt a photography workflow that will make you progress, you might also want to check out this video here, in which I teach about editing hacks I use in most of my photos. And with that being said, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you liked the video, and we'll see you soon. Bye.